Welcome, everyone, to this next installment of the Full Moon series. I'm Eric Roth, shamanic alchemical astrologer, here with Kaylin Castell, astrologer priestess, and we're here to talk about this next super full moon in Gemini, the December out of bounds Gemini Trickster Crazy Wisdom Super Full Moon, and doing this on the My Star Alchemy platform. So we're excited to continue. It's gonna the full moon takes place on December 4th, 2025, and it's pretty far out of bounds as well. So we'll be talking about what that means as we dive into this. So let's
Yeah,
uh
so
let's
good.
let's
So if we think about Gemini as the trickster, crazy wisdom, out of bounds moon makes it even more crazy, more trickstery. And the fact that it's a super full moon having a bigger impact on the earth, it's like, whoa, hang on to your hat because it's going to be a wild ride.
it is. It is. All right. So Kaylin, take it away.
All right, so just to kind of get a little bit of insight into what in the heck is crazy wisdom and also the trickster energy, because this full moon is really amped up in connection to these energies. And interestingly, I heard a podcast some months ago of somebody talking about trickster and saying how because in our culture we don't honor the trickster, um, we have the trickster showing up in ways that are really uncomfortable. So being able to honor that trickster aspect is really important, and hopefully this will inspire us to do that. But also crazy wisdom, and I love this as a connection to Gemini because in the Tibetan term, the term is Drubnoyan, defined as combining exceptional insight and impressive magical power with a flamboyant disregard for conventional behavior. So that's part of the crazy wisdom piece. Also, one of the things I like to say about crazy wisdom is this is a quote that I think comes from um, the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich. I can't think of his name right now, but it's I'm not who I think I am, and I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. That's a crazy wisdom kind of statement. Anyway, and in mythology, the trickster, and it can be god, goddess, spirit, human, coyote, because you remember the Wile E. Coyote, all the cartoons about that, is the one who has an intellect that includes secret knowledge they use to play tricks and to defy normal rules of behavior. So that's also the aspect of the trickster. And here you can see in the bottom image, the trickster is a character that often mocks authority and abandons traditional ideas of good and evil. So it's definitely meant to disrupt our sense of how things are and how they should be or shouldn't be. How do we I don't know. How are we supposed to behave? Well, Gemini's here to tell us that that might not be how it is. So the trickster then embodies the energy of mischief and the desire for change. It cuts big egos down to size, and most importantly, provides comic relief that eases tension and brings the hero and the audience down to earth. So we can laugh at ourselves, so we don't take ourselves so seriously, so we can have more fun and be more playful. It's also the work to make fun of and highlight hypocrisy as well. So being able to see that based on what the trickster is doing. And then the trickster's loyalty and motives can be in doubt. Is it an ally? Is the trickster an ally? Is the trickster an agent of shadow or an independent agent working to some private agenda? Because it can seem like all of those things could be true when we're looking at trickster energy. And interestingly, many Native American cultures had the trickster, the heyoka, the ones that would remind everybody not to be that it's not always about acting in a certain way or being so conventional or like how do we see this in a different way. And so this character is so dedicated to laughing at the status quo and mocking everything around him or her that the true motives can remain in doubt. So that's part of this trickster energy. that's happening, and this full moon is illuminating it big time in a big way. It's an out of balance full moon, so it's even more of a trickster energy. It's a closest to the earth full moon, so it's having a bigger impact on the earth. So this trickster energy
Mm.
is significant.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's reminds me of a story. There's of a in the Northwest in the Columbia River Gorge. There was a story about She Who Watches, and it's about this tribe well, this tribe was out there, but a coyote would be going from tribe to tribe to tell people of there was a big change that was coming, and they need to prepare for it. But the chief, she confronted Coyote and said, "No, you can't tell my tribe what to do, and I'm the one that's in charge, and I'm in charge and overlooking this river, and I'm the one who sees everything around me." And so Coyote played a trick on her and says, "Okay, well, yeah, you can see everything around you, and here's what's going to happen." And then he changes her into a petroglyph that is becomes She Who Watches, who overlooks the river of all time. So her ego got the best of her, and she didn't learn how to step out of that ego in order to work with and connect to her tribe. And so Coyote came in and changed the circumstances, tricked her.
Victor,
And
yes.
unfortunately, that particular petroglyph, which is it's a few hundred years old, but it's because of all the dam construction in the along the Columbia River, they saved the petroglyph, but there's a lot that's still underwater
Mhm.
from the hydroelectric dam buildings that they built along that way. But it was a really great story, and I'm glad I went there and did a little tour with some of the petroglyphs that were out there some years ago.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a good reminder. And that oftentimes we can get ourselves in trouble and we need the trickster to come along and help us see that
That's right.
what we're seeing and how we're seeing it and what we think it should or shouldn't be isn't necessarily the case.
Exactly. Exactly.
And also, I thought of Napoleon Hill. He's the one who wrote Think and Grow Rich, and he's the one who said that quote,
Ah.
I'm not who I think I am. So,
Oh, Napoleon Hill. Okay.
yeah,
I have heard of that name before.
yeah,
Yes. Uh, it's a famous book, actually.
yeah, it is.
Um, so crazy wisdom, real crazy wisdom is looking at all the ideals and expectations of your culture and going exactly the opposite direction. Fact shock, reponche. Um,
Ricochet, right?
I
Yep.
could be butchering that pronunciation, but that's okay. I'm
Okay,
sure
because
everybody will
it's
forgive me.
trickster energy, and
It's
if we're doing the exact opposite, we're not pronouncing it right anyway, right?
That's right. So Gemini is a trickster archetype similar to Kokopelli, who is, as an example of crazy wisdom, being the trickster engaging in pranks and often create unexpected and humorous outcomes. There's an amazing book. It's a comedy book, but it has a powerful lesson in there. It was written by Christopher Moore and called Coyote Blue. And it's this story of a Native American who has abandoned his traditional values and just wanted to fit into the current culture. And he meets Coyote, and Coyote completely screws up his life. It throws everything asunder, and he's fighting to change until he realizes that there's a part of him that really wanted this. And so he comes into his own in a way that he never thought possible because of Coyote's presence. It's an awesome book. I encourage anybody to want to read a great Coyote book, Native American Coyote archetype book, spirit book. That would be the book to read. It's just absolutely hilarious. But have you read that book, Galen?
I don't know. What's the name of it?
Coyote Blue.
Coyote Blue, right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a note and check it out.
It's got this smirking kind of smartass coyote figure on the front cover. That's it's one of my favorite funny books out there that I've read.
Yep. Coyote is definitely a trickster.
Yeah. Yeah. Um And all right, go for it.
So this is just a like, okay, I want to know the meaning of life, and the guru says, have you tried Googling it? Which is not a bad answer to the question, but this idea of the masters of enlightenment and crazy wisdom do not ask us to believe them. So the masters of enlightenment aren't saying, believe me and everything I have to say. Maybe find your own answers, find your own way. So rather than responding to our questions with further questions, rather than responding to our questions, they just ask more questions, or they answer with riddles and parables, and they teach crazy wisdom just by being themselves.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if we watch closely, we might learn from them how to live with simple acceptance of and even greater love for life. That's the purpose of the crazy wisdom masters. And the poet Rumi saw all phenomena, including the self, as transitory expressions of a divine intelligence. So, with that understanding, he found great love and acceptance for the way things were in the one cosmic dance. So, this is the little Rumi quote: give up owning things and being somebody, quit existing. Crazy wisdom.
That is crazy wisdom, but it's true. It's like in order to step into to truly understand is to experience the journey to arrive at that truth, whatever that might be. And you know, Gemini and or Coyote Trickster energy does it in their own, from a mainstream perspective, bizarre way. And we're that's part of how we can become more of who we become, our what our soul is evolving into.
Yes, yes. And have fun and be playful about it in the process and be creative in ways that maybe you didn't
Yes.
know you had that kind of creativity in you.
So I wonder if someone Googled it and with an AI and said, "What is the meaning of life?" And I imagine it'd be pretty. I don't know what in fact, maybe after this, I'll try doing it myself just to see what Google would say.
It might be profound. It's like you think,
It's
well,
possible.
that might, but it might be profound. So
It might
don't
be.
dismiss that possibility.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think this is amazing. Um, all right. So out of bounds, full moon. So everyone could see here, it's the full moon at 1303 Gemini, opposite the sun. And actually, one of the things that I don't know
Yes.
if you have one of the slides that talks about the nodes
No,
and
I
that they're
didn't. I
square,
meant to put that in
almost.
there and or I put it in there and it disappeared or so. I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad that you're bringing that up.
Yeah, so the nodes are really, thank you. The nodes are really like within a degree, about a roughly half a degree from exact, 40 minutes or so from exact. And so that's the midpoint of the nodes. And there's some people that talk about the nodes, and the midpoint of that is like the turn, like it's about to make a turn toward, and the moon is heading toward the south node. So there's from the future, from the destiny. Now it's going back and it's backtracking to its original state to see maybe perhaps what other wisdom lies in the past, so that it can bring that up and help humanity in its future.
I love that's so beautiful. And that this so you can see here in the thing where the furthest out, actually on December 6th, early in the day, it's going to be at 28:15. That's the furthest out. December 4th, well, it's showing 26:50, and my computer program said it was at 27:19 when we're at the exact full moon, but that's probably not later in the day, like 4:14 p.m. Mountain Time or 3:13 p.m. East Pacific Time. But in any case, the moon is out of bounds for a few days. So it goes out of bounds on December 3rd, barely out of bounds, and it doesn't come back into bounds until December 8th. So, but with the full moon being out of bounds, meaning that the moon is beyond where the sun can rise and set, it's outside those boundaries. And so, yeah, it's way off the ecliptic. So,
Hmm.
so it's adding this wild card factor to this trickster energy already that we've been talking about, and it's amping that up. And um, where we can imagine that for several days around this full moon, we're going to be feeling that energy of the moon being outside the boundaries of the sun. It's also within 3 degrees of Aldebaran. We're going to talk about more about in a moment. And the galactic edge, interesting, is at 27 Gemini. And so the moon will be passing that part a few hours after the exact full moon. Um, I don't think it's really easy to tell exactly where the exact galactic edge is.
It's the opposite. It's right at the feet of the
Yeah,
twins. So it's in this zone. It's not like precisely there, but it's in this particular zone. So the full moon, is heading that well, it's somewhere in this
it's
zone.
probably
So it's
right at the edge of the tip of the horns of the bull,
right,
where
yeah.
the
So
exact
there's
edge is considered to be, and it's looking out
right.
beyond our galaxy. So we're looking out beyond so when we're seeing this full moon, and we'll see more about how amazing the full moon is in the sacred hoop of stars and all of that in a few minutes. But yeah, the so anyway, we're looking out beyond our galaxy. So we're looking out beyond our reality. And it's the moon that's outside the norm of the sun anyway. So yeah, pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
There's a lot of especially Egyptian uh, petroglyphs that are show the sun and the moon between the horns of the bull. Um, that is right here, and that's the summer solstice or the June solstice place. And that's as you said, that's the galactic edge there. So there's that iconography, iconography that is um, that's embedded in human psyche that's been in there for a long, long time. So this particular point of the sky has been enriched a lot over the thousands of years. And so as the moon transits this area, not long after the exact full state, it's going to be in that area there.
It'll still look pretty full when it goes by.
Yes, it will, very much.
Yes.
So even on December 6th, it's going to look pretty
Yes.
darn full.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Um, so when the moon and other planets go beyond the boundaries of the sun, expect the unexpected. So disrupting what is known, chaos leading to new creation, new possibilities. And this occurs when the planets are in Gemini or Cancer or Sagittarius and Capricorn. So that's those two areas of the skies. That's when we have those significant out of bounds, occurrences taking place in as we're observing it here in on Earth. So, Caleb, if you want to
Well,
elaborate on that?
just for people to know that the other planets, Mars, Venus, Mercury, go out of bounds usually once or twice a year. And so Mars will be out of bounds at the time of this full moon. In fact, also at the time of the new moon, because it's going to stay out of bounds until January 6th, which is interesting because Mars and Venus come together around that time with the sun, which is another conversation for the new moon that's going to be happening, or I mean the full moon, Cancer full moon on January 3rd. So it'll still be featuring that out of bounds Mars. And then Venus is going out of bounds from December 2nd to January 3rd. And Mercury, December 28th to January 14th, is out of bounds. So that's adding to this wild card energy. And then, of course, we have 3 out of bounds moons in a row. One's the Gemini full moon coming up on December 4th. Then there's the new moon on December 19th. And then there's the full moon, Cancer full moon on January 3rd. And so if it's just like, okay, we're starting out we're ending this year and starting out this next year with this wild card factor, with this unexpected energy, perhaps chaotic energy. Uh, new possibilities, that create new possibilities for us as we're moving into a new calendar year as well. And of course, the new moon is going to be just 3 days before the December solstice on December 21st. So it's all feels very interwoven into like creating some sort of cosmic magic that's helping us to maybe see things and experience things in a new and different way, starting with this Gemini full moon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's going to be a really close new moon too. Obviously, we can't see the new moon, but it's
Right.
uh, you know, it's something to watch out for because there's definitely been a lot of tectonic activity
Yeah.
in recent months with these full and new moons. So I'm not predicting any earthquakes or anything, but just there. I've also been seeing when storms have been coming in the Northwest during these new and full moons, there have been king tides that have come in and have been really, really powerful. And the wave action that's just like lots of energy interacting with the earth and the sun here with the moon being so close to the earth.
Yes.
So it's
So that creates a bigger impact on the Earth because the moon is
yeah,
close, and we'll be talking about that in a moment too. But also all the solar flares and comets and Three-Eye Atlas, not a comet, not a comet, not behaving like a comet, coming by
yeah.
in
Depends
December.
on who you talk to.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of
Exactly.
astronomers are disagreeing with each other,
I
and
know. Yeah, there it's like yeah, I've seen some very credible astronomers on either side of the conversation. It's like, okay, now I'm really confused. But the point is that it's also a trickster wild card factor that's happening because people can't even agree on what it is or isn't. So, and that's
it
happening.
could be all the
Oh,
above.
yeah, and it's coming closest to the Earth at the new moon on December 19th. So adding to the wildness of this time. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, so wild experiences coming our way. Um,
yeah. So
all right.
we have this perigee new moon. So that's why it's called a super moon, is because it's closest to the Earth. And so this happens, perigee meaning closest to the Earth, and you can see in this imagery how the moon is closer to the Earth than when it's at apogee and it's furthest away from the Earth. And so new moons or full moons at perigee have a bigger impact. So sometimes perigee doesn't happen near a new moon or a full moon. Sometimes they happen at, closer to some other phase of the moon. But when it's within 90% of its closest approach to the Earth at the full moon, it's definitely super moon. It's going to look bigger than when it's rising. It's going to have it be brighter. And this is what has the effect that Eric was speaking to earlier about the tectonic plates, the weather patterns, the tides, the energy. So whatever energy we're already experiencing on Earth is getting amplified at this full moon. Just saying. We had the first perigee super full moon October 7th. The next one, then the closest one was November 5th. The second closest one is December 4th. And then the next one that's going to be a little further away is January 3rd at that new moon, I mean full moon. And so if you want more of the information about rising and setting, or there's also another link that on the previous slide that is about finding if you have out of bound planets on your chart. Um, I'll put those links in the show notes so you can have access to that.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's just like the November and December full moons. They're really just only a slight amount
Slide
closer.
about, yes, exactly.
Just they're essentially in my book, they're kind of equal
Yeah, they're
to each other.
pretty
I mean,
much.
that's what is that, 100 and less than 150 miles, 148 miles difference
Yeah, it's not
um
much.
between the two moons. So I mean astronomically that's just like a hair's breadth, from each other there. But yeah, this is amazing because it does. I mean, you go out under the full moon especially if you go out and see various full moons, And then you go out when it's a super full moon, you notice how much brighter it can be.
Especially if you're
You
seeing it
definitely notice
rise
that.
at the time of rising.
Yeah.
So, because when it's coming up over the horizon is when it's going to look the biggest anyway. But if it's a super moon or a perigee moon, it's going to look even bigger. It's like, how did the moon get so big? It's like often how it feels when you see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or setting, see it
exactly.
rising or setting. So the link here of when to figure that out will be also in the show notes of for your location. You can find, and also you have to adjust for your horizon line because we have mountains in our east, so the moon doesn't come up always at the time that it says that it's going to come up. Um,
Right.
Usually it's 20 to 30 minutes later, depending on where it is on the mountain. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you got the rabbit there on the moon. And yeah, so this is just sort of a if you could see, in your local time, you could see would check when it's rising, but you could see the moon, the full moon here rising around at 5:45 p.m. Your that's your time.
That's my time.
Uh
But it might be
yeah, yeah.
around that time for a lot of people. It just depends if
Yeah,
that's on a flat horizon line. So it might be later for us. But that's what my star program or my Starry Night program gave me. So but just to kind of give you a sense of when that is. Yeah.
exactly. It's a really, and I know you're going to be talking about this, but it's in the Sacred Hoop of Stars, which we're going to get into. Um, but there's some really powerful, like this time of year, to see those constellations rise and then have a full moon as part of that is pretty spectacular.
Very spectacular. Yeah, definitely worth seeing if you get a chance.
Yeah. So, Sabian symbol of the full moon in Gemini. So this is interesting symbolism. Two people at widely different points are in conversation with each other by means of telepathy. So, like interpretation of this kind of relates to both our surface and deeper connection with the source of all. Life is celebrated while we also go about our business. Like it's remembering to enjoy this, not just the physical realm, but the mental realm here in Earth's, like that stimulation that we want to connect with here in the symbolism with this Gemini full moon. And if you think of Gemini and you think of the magician, what are we reading from each other, that kind of thing. Is there something going on that you're picking up thoughts of from others, just from body language, but also just from eye contact, and that's a form of mental communication as well. So it depends on what you're really connected to in all of that with this Gemini full moon that's coming up here. So it's Gemini has a big connection with the element of air and the mind. And so having that whole thing with connected to telepathy, makes sense to me. So it's like it can celebrate communication and different forms of different mediums of communication as well.
Yeah,
But
creative.
not lose sight of like the physical realm. Not like it's not time to leave your body, not come back. So that's what I was kind of stressing there a little bit there. But go ahead,
Well, just
Caitlin.
that, it also the idea of communication and Gemini being the storyteller. And so, what are the stories we're telling at this time, and how can we creatively tell these stories in a new way that creates the reality we really want to experience? And so, I appreciate what you were saying about the coyote story, the blue coyote story. And there's others, many others. There's lots of stories about all these things. And so, how are we going to tell these stories in ways that will help to create? Because it's creative communication. And so, what
Yeah.
we're voicing is giving is the first step of some creating something, speaking into it. And so, I think this Gemini full moon is reminding us of that. And let's keep it fun and playful.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so when a full moon shows up in this part of the sky, this is suggesting, because you can see that it's actually the way that it's drawn here on the sky map is that it's on the horn of the bull and it's kind of connected to Aldebaran, the eye of the bull. It's not too far from there. because it's so far out of bounds, it's way above, or depending on, I guess, as it would go this way over the sky, then it would be above Aldebaran at some point in the night. And so it's suggesting it's a time to have the courage and strength to enter a new possibility as we enter a new solar and galactic year. Because anytime we have a Gemini full moon, it's going to be within a couple weeks or so that we have the solstice when the sun reaches that um, place on the galactic cross that lets us know this is why we know we're at a 26,000 year turning of a great galactic year. Anyway, so it's basically transmitting the mysteries and light codes from Aldebaran, the bull's eye, the eye of the bull. So it's how we see, perceive, and also communicate what's going on. And it's one of the four royal stars of the ancients. And it's considered the key to the Silver Gate, or the Silver Gate being the entrance point into this reality. So these are all very significant. The placement of this full moon, the exact full moon, is significant in this way. And so the question you might ask yourself is, are you willing to see in new ways from the bull's eye view, a new perspective of how we're seeing our reality?
Yes. Yeah. All about perspective. Yeah. Thank you. Um, Something we're going to talk about a little bit about Aldebaran here. Back in the ancient Sumer and Babylon, they would look at the stars Antares and Aldebaran as the prime fiducial stars that kind of help mark the boundaries of the zodiac at one time. And as Caitlin shared, Aldebaran's the eye of the bull. And you could see, so when one star rises, Aldebaran, and Terry's, the other star on the opposite side, will set. They're roughly at each 10 degrees of their respective signs. Gemini for Aldebaran, Sagittarius for Antares. So when you're seeing Aldebaran rise, then you know that the Antares will not be visible in the sky anymore. And then perhaps, in the early morning sky, you know, oh, well, Antares won't be visible in the early morning, not until for a while. But that's how they do it. So whenever, just like an opposition, but is a fixed. Excuse me, this is a fixed opposition, so it's not something that'll move around. But this full moon highlights that origin story or origin point of some of the like initial like structure of the zodiac that the ancient Mesopotamians were looking at and bringing this here into is that's still around here at this time of our this age of our lives right now.
It's pretty remarkable. I love how it's like, to me, it's like a stellar gateway, or like a Stargate energy between those two, and how one's rising, one's setting, and then, the other one's rising, the other one's setting. It's like, yeah. And one's about the heart and one's about the mind and how we perceive. So, it's
Right.
how do we connect those two things together, so that it serves us?
And thousands of years ago, I think it's 5 to 6 thousand years ago or so, those two stars mark their respective equinox points. And that's a whole different conversation, but let's just say that you're when you're seeing these stars, you're also seeing a window into the past and potentially the future because in I think it's what 1500 years they'll mark the solstice points, right?
Uh,
Something
yeah, something like that.
1817 or 1800 years or something like that. So yeah, we're heading towards those markers in the coming centuries. All right. Shall I
Yep.
continue
Go for
here?
it. Go for
Yeah, so this is like, and Kayla, you're welcome to share too, of course. But I love that Kayla and I did a whole course about the royal stars and the Bohemian stars. And so if you want to know more about that, like the deeper level of that, feel free to go to mystaralchemy.com to check that out. And it's well worth it. We've got a good price for all three online courses together as a package. But Aldebaran, I think these names are the from the Norse mythology, the four dwarves. So the Aldebaran currently, well, at one time it represented the Watcher of the East because it was the March equinox, and Antares, the opposite, was Watcher of the West, the autumnal equinox. But, as they start to drift to the solstice points, we can start to switch these out because, they're going to be representing different points, different directions.
Yeah,
But it's
because
fascinating
it's
with
now like
these.
6,000 years later or almost 6,000 years later. So it's made that shift. So
Yes,
they're not marking those points anymore, but they did at one time.
they
It's
did.
and and it's good to know that that's why they are considered the watchers of those directions because they were watching those directions at that time.
They were, and I think does Aldebaran represent Archangel Michael?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, I got that right. So there's also like a deeper level connection. I put this up here because this has the four constellations here listed as which contain the four royal stars. You've got the bull, the lion, the man, and what was at one time, I think, well, we've got because the fish was supposed to be part of that, but there was the eagle was part of that, and then the man was part of that, and so there's throwbacks depending on what culture you're talking about here and the constellation projection. Those four were really powerful. It's even in the Bible. They have the biblical imagery in there as well. So there's this deep, not just astronomy, but there's astrological connection to the from these four stars, and Aldebaran being one of them, where the full moon will be. So when you're connecting into that full moon, you're connecting into that connection of the one of the four watchers in the sky, one of the four Persian royal stars, including Regulus, Antares, and Fomalhaut as the other three. So something to consider. And these were things even the Native Americans looked at as 4 points of the medicine wheel. So around, no matter almost, I think globally, cultures looked at those four stars as really powerful points in the sky, and that we're now in a space where the new knowledge is coming in and or returning back to us, and this is one of this full moon is helping to activate that.
And yes, and really transmit from Aldebaran to the earth, closest to the earth,
Yes.
outside the boundaries of our ordinary reality, closest to the earth, making a direct transmission. And any star, any planet that was within 6 degrees of a star, Aldebaran being one of the stars of the ancient alchemists, that's when the was the time to make their talismans and do their ceremonies and make their elixirs and whatever it was that they were doing. So this full moon is powerfully amplifying the light codes coming from Antares. And so we can definitely tune into that and see and open to see what the message might be for us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, would you like to do this?
You go.
All right. I'll continue on. Thank you. So the star energies of Aldebaran, comes from the Starlight Elixirs and Cosmic Vibrational Healing book by Michael Smolkus and Fred Rubenfeld. Um, and you can learn more about that at the website hilarion.com /stars. So the authors linked Aldebaran to the original genetic coding that allowed for the experience of free will here on planet Earth, and the beings from Aldebaran hope that humanity may someday choose to co-create a civilization with them. It's also a portal to the mysteries of the mind, and when balanced with the fixed star Antares, again, opposite Aldebaran, who is a portal to the mysteries of the heart, we have a powerful Stargate access, just like you shared earlier. So these are kinds of things that you can also tune. I definitely recommend this book. I think you can only get it used now because it's out of print.
Yep.
But if you find a copy of it or find some additional information about it online, it's definitely worth the read. And each, they got a lot of stars in there and what they've been able to tune in psychically and spiritually to these stars. It's pretty powerful. So
I
Aldebaran
love
can assist us. Go ahead.
I love too that it doesn't, it's like a lot of ancient star books, or I don't know if ancient's the right word, but older star books, books on the stars that talk about individual stars often have very negative perspectives, and this does not. This really sees it from the highest possibilities. So that's one of the reasons I love, love, love this book. And yes, it is only available used, and it can be quite expensive because of that. But every now and then you might find a opportunity to get it at a lower price. So it's worth Google it and find out, see what you can get. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
I back in the 90s I was doing celestial timings. I still do them, but I was doing that and they contacted me and said that I should be using stuff from their book and they sent me the book. I was like, of course I'll be using
Wow.
stuff from your book. Oh my God, it's so good. So yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that story. That's awesome.
I don't think either of them are around anymore, but that I was like, oh, really? Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now we're going to
Okay.
look at the sacred hoop of stars. So you can see the moon is inside. So I created a hoop that kind of covers the actual stars in the outer rim of the hoop. But this is from the Lakota, and there were other native tribes. But the Lakota, there's actually books that have been written about their
Yeah.
star knowledge, and they felt that it was auspicious when anytime planets were passing through the sacred hoop of stars. And we're going to see some other images of the sacred hoop as in a moment here. But you can see Jupiter on the outer edge of the hoop. It's at 24 Cancer. I think Procyon is 25 Cancer. So it's like just right on the, like it retrograde. So it's going back into the hoop and then it'll come back and it'll pass out of the hoop next year. So
I think Jupiter actually gets to the
comes
degree of
back to
Sirius or
align with
close to
Sirius,
that.
but it's on the green line, on the ecliptic line. But yeah, so it's
Right.
not close, but
Yes, it's going to be
up there.
somewhere in
Yeah,
here.
somewhere up
Yeah.
there. Yeah, but it does. It comes back within like less than a degree of Sirius when it stations direct.
Yeah.
So it's been in the hoop for a long time. So it entered the hoop when it entered Gemini um, over a year ago, and then it stays in the hoop until it exits. I think goes past 25, 26 degrees of Cancer, and then it'll be outside, it'll have exited the hoop. So we've still got it there for many more months. Is another, I guess, the best way to say that.
I think at the end of May, beginning of June, it starts to leave that area.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Yep. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, the solstice point is roughly in the center. And you can see the various stars that help the boundary of it. Pleiades is part of it. Oh, there it is, right there.
Uranus is right next to the Pleiades, but I think the
Right.
red line kind of goes right through it. Yeah. So,
Yep, there it is. And then there's Capella. That's another beautiful star in the constellation of Auriga. So you can really see like the outline. So if you know where to look and can see that, you can realize like what the sacred hoop, like you could realize the boundaries of it and how powerful of an impact it had and continues to have on humanity.
yep.
And there's even a Stargate in there somewhere.
Oh
We've
yeah,
talked about, yeah.
yeah.
In
Yeah,
Sirius,
with
Betelgeuse, and
Betelgeuse and Procyon and Sirius, you can actually see them.
Perseid.
I could have drawn them in there, I suppose, but yeah,
So right here,
yeah,
it's a near equilateral triangle too.
it's it's
Um,
it's amazing to see in the sky. It really is. So highly recommended if you can see it. And they're bright enough
it's-
stars that you should be able to see it even in a full moon.
yeah, yeah, all of them will be bright. Absolutely. Um, All right. So
So
more.
this is like a combination of my original the original way I drew the sacred hoop looks more like a shield because I put straight
Yes.
lines to all the different stars in the sacred hoop. And when you try to draw a circle, and I'm not, I just put a circle and tried to put it over it. It doesn't quite work exactly. It's not like a perfect circle. But the Pleiades, which are around 29 degrees Taurus and 0 Gemini, is the entrance point. Whenever a planet is entering into the sacred hoop, it goes by that, and that's where Uranus has been hanging out this last year. So it's just entered the sacred hoop, and it's going to be there for a long time because it's like 7 years in the sign of Gemini, and then it'll go into Cancer, and then it'll be 7 more years or maybe 6 years before it exits the hoop. So it's going to be there for it's going through the hoop for a long time. It's pretty exciting. And then
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's about 14-ish years it'll be there. Yeah.
14-ish years. Yeah, it's not maybe quite 14, or maybe it's a little more than 14, or maybe it goes out, goes in and out, whatever.
Yeah, the transitions between two signs where it's going back and forth a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Castor and Pollux around 23 Cancer, Procyon or Procyon at 25 Cancer, the June solstice at the very center of the hoop. So the plane of the galaxy and the plane of the solar system cross, create that cross, and that's where the June solstice sun happens to rise. And it came within 1 degree of that cross in 1926, and it's within 1 degree until 2070. It's pretty still central, within a half a degree until 2034. So 1962 to 2034 would be the center point of all of that. So this is a very significant part of the sky, where this full moon, and you can see the full moon above the ecliptic line, and not too far from Aldebaran. I mean, far from our Aldebaran by latitude, but it's, in that direction. So yeah, it's pretty spectacular. And so let's see, maybe we can look at the next one.
The
Oh,
nakshatras. Yeah.
nakshatras. Okay, so
I was
that
going to say sometimes, okay, that sometimes the moon will occult Aldebaran.
yeah,
It might have a series of occultations.
yeah.
So it can
And
actually be out of bounds and below,
right.
or will it be Aldebaran? Is Aldebaran out of bounds on the? I don't know if it's because this is the ecliptic's way up here at this point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good
So
question. I'm not sure the answer to that. I'd have to look it
okay.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A future video. We'll talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah. But the
it.
sun will always be on the green line, always.
Yes.
Always there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That will not
It's the one
change.
that
If
does not move. Yeah.
you ever find the sun is not on this line, we've got some really big problems going on.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
something's the Earth is not doing very well
The
at that
Earth is
point.
tilted on its axis, or, something has happened. Yeah.
Way off
Right.
tilt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you and the pinball machine where you get it off kilter and it starts to it gives you a error message there or something like that. Um, all right, let's talk about the nakshatras, Caitlin.
So Rohini is the nakshatra for this full moon. And it's basically tropical degrees. Now, I've heard people give the sidereal degrees, but that doesn't work for me because I know my chart from tropical degrees. So if you have planets, angles, or nodes between 3 degrees of Gemini and 17 degrees of Gemini, three, almost 4 degrees of Gemini, then they are in this nakshatra.
Yeah,
By tropical terms, yes. So
yes,
this is a nakshatra that's been seen as being grounded in reality. It's the symbol, as you can see, is like the flower, like a four-petaled flower. And so it's connected to the number four and the rose, although I think roses have way more petals. But anyway, and Aldebaran and the Hyads are within this nakshatra. So as we've talked about, and you can see that Aldebaran's definitely in the located, and Aldebaran is in the asterism called the Hyads, which are also sister stars. So we have the seven sisters of the Pleiades, and then we have the sisters of the Hyads, A whole other story for another time. But anyway, this nakshatra energy is the key words are red, one, star of ascent, fertility and abundance. So these are some things that could be being illuminated by the full moon. Power to make things grow, enjoyment, and creative expansion.
Mhm.
So if we want to tune into those energies with this full moon and maybe craft intentions and attention around that would be the thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the Hyades is like the face of the bull
Yeah,
here, with Aldebaran marking that one
marking the
the
eye.
main eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Beautiful. And you can
All right.
you can see Jupiter
Uh,
on the edge there by the Castor and Pollux. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure people noted that.
oh yeah, yeah, and then Uranus
Yeah, and Uranus,
just
yeah. So they're
about.
like bookending on either side of that sacred hoop of stars, Uranus and Jupiter. Yeah. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So next year Uranus will move into that nakshatra Rohini.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Yes. Yes, it will. Mhm.
All right, go for it.
Oh. Okay, so Gemini is about cultivating laughter. And, sometimes people just get so serious. So I love to energize the fun playfulness of Gemini. And natural, laughter is natural, it's inborn, it's innate. It's something that babies start laughing, actually start smiling when they're a few months old, and then they start laughing. And in the Navajo tradition, we just learned this because we have a grandson who's now, I guess he's a year and 16 months. But this was back in when he was about to turn a year old. And so a Navajo girl was asking us if he had started laughing yet. Because in their tradition, when babies laugh, that's when the soul fully enters the body. And they do a big ceremony and
Mm.
celebration for that. So they often laugh, so they're laughing out loud within the first few months. And I don't know exactly when he started laughing, but he definitely into it. It's fun. So, and smiling is contagious. So, one of the things we can do during this time and any time going forward from this time is to smile often. And I notice that when I smile, when I'm out on my walks and I smile at people, it uplifts my energy. Most people smile back and you can tell it uplifts their energy, but some people are just not having it. But I still find my energy uplifted. So that's the reason to do it. So
Yes.
you can smile at yourself in the mirror, you can smile at those you know, you can smile, those you encounter and don't know. You can smile for no reason. Because smiling is joyously contagious and often leads to laughter. And laughter helps release the feel-good hormones. There was a I'm trying to think of the guy's name. There was a movie that was done about this, who he cured himself from ALS from by laughing. That was one of the things he did to cure him.
Wow,
Yes,
that's amazing.
watching funny movies and getting to laugh. And if he could get a good belly laugh, he could sleep without pain. So laughter is so good for us. So we can watch a funny movie or a TV show. We can read or tell a funny story. We can listen to a comedian. We can read funny memes. We can be kind, playful, banter with friends. That's one of the things I love, Eric, that you and I do. We do the fun banter.
Yes.
So laugh out loud, be like Calvin and Hobbes, and just, belly
Yep.
laugh and have fun. And sometimes when people are laughing and you're laughing with them, and then that makes you laugh more and that makes them laugh more, and the laughing just keeps going. It's so good. So always find a reason to laugh. It may not add years to your life, but it will surely add life to your years.
There you go. There you go. That's it. I was the other day I sometimes watch clips of Stephen Colbert's monologue, and he one of the funniest things that he ever has talked about in a long time was this new advancement of this robot that's a household robot. And they were making a big thing about it, and they were demonstrating this like demonstrative video. And at one point, the robot was doing some strange things, but at one point, it was trying to put things in the dishwasher and it was trying to like close the door and it had to bend. It was like a humanoid robot. It was bending over and it was trying to take its hand to lift it up and it couldn't really like lift it. And Colbert was just like completely making fun of it and the way he was speaking. And I think I laughed for like 4 or 5 minutes straight. It was just so funny. But it in those moments, like whatever you're thinking before then, it just like dissipates everything. It blows it out.
Yes,
And it does like really strongly shift the energy and it can be very, very healing too, as
absolutely.
as you talked about. So please, and smile like not just you just a lot of people can smile just for like a without being
Functory.
fully into the smile.
Yeah, being
But
perfunctory.
exactly, and where if you really feel that joy and that laughter, those people will be able to see it in your eyes as well, and how funny that could be. So it's also not just in your mouth, but in the entire face as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
And
And
it's
also it releases the feel-good hormones in the body. So that's maybe one of the reasons why when we laugh and we really have a belly laugh, that it just feels so good because it releases those feel-good hormones. So practice this Gemini full moon, and you can start right now. And just give yourself permission to laugh as much as possible. And at least start out with smiling if you can't, if you don't feel like laughing, but la smiling will often lead to laughter. So, yeah,
yes, yes, yeah. No, no, it's beautiful.
yeah,
Great Gemini topic here.
yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up by with from quotes from Swami Beyondananda. And I just love that name. I just think it's so good. And I got to see him. Oh my gosh, I must have been in my 30s, my early 30s. He came to Tucson and did a thing, and it was just so fun to see him. So
Mm.
I've kind of kept track of him through the years, but um, this is very Gemini. He's very Gemini, so Gemini. And so he says, the bad news, there's no key to the universe. The good news, it was never locked. Like, okay, so something to keep in mind. And then he said, sense of humor is our seventh sense that helps us make sense of the other six.
There you go.
So we got to have a sense of humor. That's very Gemini. It's like so Gemini. So yeah, I think we're complete unless you have anything you want to add, Eric.
No, it's really in some ways getting the cosmic joke, but also as connecting into a wavelength that breaks apart the limitations that are present.
Yeah.
And we think about out of bounds, and Gemini by itself is out of bounds, and it amplifies that experience, and it goes out. So color outside the lines kind of experience where some other creation can happen if you go beyond your limits and boundaries. And it could really shift one's perspective in ways you never thought possible.
So
So this is
true. Yes. Go ahead.
yeah. That I was just gonna say this could be a powerful moon in that way.
I feel like it too. And I think it's definitely time to commit to something playful and fun. Whatever that is for you. It might be different for different people, but around the time of this full moon, and maybe leading up to it, maybe during it, maybe after it, maybe all of that, maybe none of that. I don't know. But ideally, we want to just find more time to have fun. I think the world is crazy and the vibration of the planet is being uplifted by all these solar flares and comets and out of bounds planets and full moons and all the things that are going on. And so we want to try to experience the joy that can be connected to that. So, yeah,
Yeah,
so good.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank
All
you.
right.
Check out the show notes for links and that I mentioned, and guess that's it for now. So we'll see you for the next full moon.
Yeah, and like and subscribe if you're so inclined, and share it with other people that might find this interesting. So thank you all for being a part of this, and take care.